of it. Our love is what we make of it. Our love is what we make of it. Our love is what we make of it.
Sex for smart people. That means you.
Oh, hi, and welcome to Sex for Smart People. I'm Stephanie, and I use the pronouns she, her, hers, or they, them, theirs. And this is our first video. We're going to make a video like this for all past and future episodes, and in which we ask the guest of honor what they most deeply want to communicate to the world in terms of sex and relationships. But for our first episode, which we recorded back in 2013, it was just my co-host Dave and me, so for this video, I'm the one in the hot seat. So what do I most deeply want to convey in terms of sex and relationships? First, I want to get three big misconceptions out of the way. The first is that I used to think that I could either be a good person or a sexual person, but my journey from shame to celebration has been one of learning that who I am sexually is an integral part of the good, whole person that I am. And the second misconception is that sex is somehow peripheral or even frivolous to the rest of existence, but I am here to say resoundingly no, sex is not peripheral. It is deeply rooted in hope and life force and vitality, and again is essential to who we are. And putting it in a box in the corner does a great disservice to ourselves and to those we love. And it is possible, if not always easy, and can be wonderful to bring who we are sexually to all of who we are, and bring all of who we are to who we are sexually. And the third thing is that the idea of sex positive is often misunderstood as if it means like all the sex all the time is definitely better, but that's obviously not necessarily the case. And sex positivity, or as I like to say, sexuality from a place of wholeness, is simply the powerful idea that we can be all of who we are without shame. Whether all of who we are is straight, queer, kinky, vanilla, trans, non-binary, monogamous, non-monogamous, the list goes on and on. And America is so weird about sex. On the one hand, there's all this excess promiscuity that's devoid of any humanity, and on the other hand, there's this residual puritanical shame, and we're so quickly labeled as either a slut or a prude, and it can be really difficult to find the life, the nuance, the humanity, the wholeness in between those extremes. But when we do, we can actually be free and fully authentic in the choices that we make around love and sex and family. And way beyond that, we can move toward a world where everyone is free and safe to do the same. And so that brings me to what I am most passionate about communicating, which is that sexuality from a place of wholeness is a powerful way to operate, and it takes great courage in a culture that doesn't often support it. And so many of the stories that we hear about love and what love and what sex and what gender and what family can be are so limited and thus harmful. And we need to boldly be creating our own scripts here. We can be long-term monogamous, married, and also super kinky at the same time. We can be really into hookups and casual sex and be always super considerate, respectful, and communicative with all of our partners. We can be gender complex or queer within an outwardly seeming hetero relationship, or vice versa. We can be highly sensual and just not that into having sex with other people for a time or for our whole lives. And those things don't mean that we're broken. They don't. There is so much beauty and nuance to what is possible when we really listen to ourselves and to each other and create our own vocabulary. Our love is what we make of it. And so that is a big part of what lights the fire under Dave McGee and I to do the Sex for Smart People podcast. And if you haven't heard it already and you're interested in more of our personal story, maybe start with episode 1 And you can find all of our episodes and also ways to get in touch with us at sexforsmartpeople.com. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening and for being in this conversation with me.